Yes, indeed. It is our first reverse chronological lightning round episode of the season. We are now really, truly underway here on Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball, presented by FanDuel and the Believe network of podcasts. I'm Dan Vespers. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. My voice, as always, completely shot to hell after a Sunday of yelling at little kids on a baseball field. All good stuff, but mostly with the really little ones trying to make sure that they don't get smoked by a line drive because they are watching bees buzz around their little heads and not the actual ball game. Find me on Twitter at Dan Vespers. Check out our friends over at FanDuel. Please like and subscribe. And now let's talk about every single team that played first on Sunday, back to Saturday. There were 4 teams, I looked it up already, that didn't play Saturday or Sunday. We'll get to those, their last games on Friday, and that will get you guys fully reset to conquer the week ahead. We will know everything that's going on at the end of today's program. Whoops, that's not at the top where I meant it to be. Sunday was a 9-gamer, so that'll get us through, 18 out of 30? What's the percentage there? Is that 60% of the NBA? Great. San Antonio took care of Brooklyn, and this is game that went about the way that you'd expect Brooklyn games to go. Cam Thomas had 40 on a ridiculous 25 shots and 13 free throws in only 32 minutes. MPJ had 16, 6, and 4 with a couple of steals. Those guys combined for 8 3-pointers. Nick Claxton was sort of fine, 10 and 5. And they lost, which is, I think, the ultimate goal here for Brooklyn. I tried not to draft these guys anywhere I was able to. I play in enough Games Cap Roto leagues where I have one Michael Porter Jr. I'm in a volume league where I did take one Cam Thomas. That's it. Because we know what we're going to get. We're going to get those guys going big when they're allowed to play, and then at some point they're just not going to be allowed to play anymore. But if they can be good enough at losing between now and then maybe they will be disallowed from playing just a little bit less. That's all you can hope for Brooklyn. I wouldn't expect anybody else to have value anytime soon. As the year goes, you might get more out of, say, a Day'Ron Sharp or an Yegor Dimin kind of guy. But right now, there's no point in rostering these dudes. So let's talk about something else. Think about the ladies' man. Now, let's talk about something else. Victor Wembanyama attempting to break fantasy basketball early this year. And, I mean, go for it, bud. He's been insane. 31 and 14, 3 steals, 6 blocks. It doesn't even matter that his free throw number is down. His field goal number overall is actually pretty good this year, but he's averaging 6 blocks a game, which is beyond absurd. And yet at the same time, we're like, well, I mean, maybe he just will average like 5-6 blocks a game this year. Top of the board guy, I had him at number 3 in Roto, number 2 in head-to-head. So, like, number 1, like, what are you going to do? My issue with the Spurs is not about Wemby, who deserves some attention because he's insane. But, like, you guys are watching this show not to hear my thoughts on superstars, but to hear my thoughts on everybody else. And the Spurs, everybody else, I'm going to repeat myself, but I'm going to try to do it fast. De'Aaron Fox is out today. I think he'll be back in about a week and a half is my guess on Fox, because the Spurs have kind of a light schedule coming up, and there's probably no point in ramming him back in, but maybe they'll get him in and kind of start to ramp him up a little bit there. So somewhere in that neck of the woods. Beyond those two guys, Wemby and Fox, I avoided the Spurs in drafts like the plague, not because I think all these other guys are going to be bad, but because I just didn't know how the Spurs were going to mix and match playing time, usage, and minutes. And I don't know that the Spurs knew how they were going to mix and match all those different things. So game 1, Stephon Castle was really, really good. Game 2, we got, I think, a little more Devin Vassell. Is this game 3 now? Game 3, you got more Dylan Harper and more Keldon Johnson from the out of nowhere. Keldon with a 19 and 6 game on great percentages. And that doesn't even cover the fact that we haven't had our, like, biannual Harrison Barnes 2-week heater. And at some point, Julian Champagne's probably going to have a few good. This game wasn't that bad for him. So there's just, in my opinion, between Harper and Castle and Vassell, who are probably all kind of like the lead dogs for the third fiddle. You got Wemby number 1, Fox number 2, and then you got 3A, 3B, 3C, and I don't know what order. And then beyond those guys, you have the fours, which is Keldon, Champagnie, and Harrison Barnes. Like, how do you figure out among those 6 guys who's going to be good every night? At some point, you hope that somebody kind of lifts above the fray, but I don't know that they will be. Like right now, Keldon Johnson is the second highest ranked player on the Spurs because he's shooting 64%. Vassell is at 121 because he missed, a couple of free throws, but otherwise, I guess his numbers are okay. Dylan Harper's been pretty good so far, frankly, but his minutes are not that high. And then Castle, who had these like really big games, but nobody's noticed the fact that he's been all-time bad at the free throw line and doesn't shoot the 3 ball. I just don't want to get involved. Something's going to win in here. Don't get me wrong. Somebody is going to win out. I just don't know who it is. So I'm saying screw it to all of it. Detroit beat Boston, and the Celtics are off to a terrible start. So my assessment that the Celtics are going to accidentally win a couple of ball games this year looks very stupid so far. But the good news is Jaylen Brown had 41, so he was out there getting all the shots in the universe, and who knows if he plays in their next ball game. But if he does, that's good. Peyton Pritchard's starting to show signs of coming around. He had 21 and 10 here. Missed some free throws, but hard to argue with 21 and 10. And Derek White could not hit the broadside of a damned barn right now with a basketball. But luckily, he's still Derek White, and so he's still number 30 in 9-cat because he's averaging 3.7 defensive stats, 3.3 threes, 4 assists, and shooting 90% at the foul line. This is bad Derek White right now. Derek White with 25 usage or higher, playing poorly, is still a third rounder. Like, this kind of feels like the low water mark for him, but they do need to win a few ball games or I'm going to start to get nervous. Nemias Queta played 26.5 minutes in this ball game. He didn't do a whole lot with them, although he did manage to stumble sort of face first into 5 defensive stats, which is good because he had 1 over his previous 2 ball games. This sort of leveled him off a bit there. He's averaging 10 and 7 with some okay defensive stats, and he looks like a prototypical, like, 4th center on a fantasy team right now. I'd say try to stick it out a little bit longer because it does feel like he has the edge over Luka Garza, certainly over Chris Boucher, who's an afterthought and is not good at basketball. But it's also possible that none of those 3 guys ends up being fantasy relevant, and that's where we're at right now. Jalen Duren overcame foul trouble in this ball game. Again, he just can't get out of his own way so far this year, but he's still top 50. Despite not really having a full minute. He's averaging 20 minutes a game, and he's at 15 and 10 with 2.4 defensive stats on beastly field goal percent. He's been really good at the free throw line, actually, so far, although that probably doesn't stick. This does augur very well for when Jalen Duren can actually get his damn foul numbers down and start playing a reliable 28 minutes a ball game, which is great news. That's what he got in this game. That's a minute higher than last year. That's what we want. Get him to 28. Get him to 29. I said it a bunch of times last preseason. I thought Jalen Duren was going to be a guy who leads the league in rebounding someday. Maybe that day is now. Good stuff for Asar Thompson. Good stuff for Tobias Harris. Those are guys that you're sort of like stroking your beard a little before the season started. Can these guys coexist? Can these guys figure it out? And without Jaden Ivey, at least, they can. Who Ivy replaces remains to be seen. It might be Duncan Robinson, though. That would be fun for us. But Asar's number 54 through 3 games. Tobias is number 70. I like all of that. I got a bunch of Ron Holland questions, but he's playing only 19 minutes. I don't care how good he is per minute. 19 ain't going to be enough. The Knicks took a defeat at the hands of the Heat as we do our rhyming scheme. And that is a podcast theme. Jalen Brunson, big ball game for Jalen Brunson. And he'll do this every once in a while. He's number 24 in 9-cat, averaging 30 points a game. That's not going to stick. It'd be nice if it did, but it's not going to. He's also averaging 3 threes a game, which probably also won't stick, thanks to hitting 5 in this one. He's not a sell high because the best you're going to get is basically where you drafted him. But anyway, good start for Jalen. Cat had 15 and 18. It's good to see the rebounding numbers up. I don't really have any thoughts on the Knicks. Isn't that weird? Oh, I do have one thought. Josh Hart, minutes cap, came off in this ball game. He had 6, 5, and 5. I don't care about that part. I care about the fact that he played 29 minutes. If he plays 29 minutes all year, he'll be top 75, and so that should be fine. Otherwise, all good stuff. I mean, the starters, Mike Brown looks a lot like Tom Thibodeau right now. Starters playing big minutes, except for Ariel Huck-Porty, which feels like create a character on NBA 2K. On the Heat side, Norman Powell continues to dominate without Tyler Hero. I think we kind of knew that he was going to get off to a really fast start. I don't know if we knew it was going to be this fast of a start, but just enjoy it because it's not going to last forever. It does, however, I think augur well for Powell still having some fantasy value even after Tyler Hero comes back. Maybe we're talking 75 to 90 range, but better than with the Clippers where he completely fell off a cliff. Other notes on this ball game. Khalil Ware, Bam Adebayo started together, but Ware only played 22 minutes. There is still trouble a-brewing, but luckily Ware has such good fantasy game that he's actually been startable in 20 minutes a game. Probably won't last forever. The pace that he's on, like he's hit every free throw he's taken. I think there's only 2 or 3, but he's hit them all. Certain stuff is going to come down for Ware. All we really need there, I say I didn't draft him any place, but all you really need is like 24 minutes a game and he'll have fantasy value consistently. And you're not dropping because he's starting now, but you're obviously hoping for more than this. Davion Mitchell played only 24 minutes in this ball game, and he was one of the guys that kind of lost out to Nikola Jovic and Jaime Jaquez. We always knew Mitchell was going to be more of a fill-in guy anyway, and he got after that massive first ball game, and now he's come crashing back to earth, and he's number 136. More of a steals and assists specialist at this point, but that's fine. That's like a one-burger kind of guy, right? Sure. Jaime Jaquez is the guy that I think everybody's curious about. I suppose people might be curious about Andrew Wiggins, who has been atrocious at the free throw line, but otherwise has been sort of quietly fine. He's a hold for me right now. Jaquez, I'm having a lot of trouble not adding him. He's averaging 16, 7, and 4, but he's shooting 71%. So that's a thing you know is going to come down. Still, like, the minutes have been pretty good to this point. If he shoots 50% instead of 70, he's still teetering on the brink of 9-cat value, even without any three-pointers. He's not going to be a world beater, but he's probably a top 100 guy as the Heat are currently constructed. He probably does not hold value once Tyler Hero comes back, because anybody that's close to the bubble is going to get pushed out of it, meaning that looks like probably Wiggins, Jaquez, Davion Mitchell. Tyler Hero probably blows all those guys up. But for now, try to squeeze out some value where you can. And then Nikola Jovic, who has such a well-rounded fantasy game, but 25 bench minutes is not going to be enough for him. He's number 116 in 25 minutes a game right now. That's probably around where he could stand, which is, I think, more of like a good streamer. And I think that's it I've got. That's all I got for the Heat. Charlotte gets another win. They've got a pretty tasty schedule to start the season. Taking care of Brooklyn and Washington, 2 tanking teams in their first 3 ball games. They'll get a better test this week against Miami, Orlando, kneecapped Minnesota, and then Utah, who's actually not playing all that poorly to start the year, but obviously not a good team. But there's a little bit of a mirage happening in Charlotte. It's a fun one. It's nice to see them win a couple games, but it helps when you're playing against teams that aren't really trying to win. LaMelo was massive here. He's so exciting when he plays. I've said it for so many years on the podcast. He has a gear that other players in the NBA don't have, but he hasn't stayed upright. I drafted him in one place. It's a draft I was doing literally while driving a car, and I thought, well, I haven't taken LaMelo yet. Maybe I should try him one spot. And it's been good, thank goodness. So I'm right along with you guys. Even though I told you don't draft him, he fell to me at, I think it was the end of the 3rd round. And I thought, if ever there was going to be a moment. And I think I had like some low turnover guys before him. I forget exactly what the makeup of that team is. Which one of these is my LaMelo team? In fact, you guys may or may not care. I'm going to find it. Damn it. The LaMelo team has Amen Thompson was my 2nd rounder. I don't expect him to be a particularly high turnover guy. I think Shea might have been the first. So it actually wasn't that late in the third round. It was mid-third round. I thought, all right, well, my first two guys are both 2 turnover guys a game. Amen Thompson might even be less than that, depending on how this year goes. He's at 3 right now. All right. I don't need everybody on my team to be a low turnover dude. So if ever there was a time I could take a guy and just treat him as an 8-cat dude, it was that particular team. So I did. And he's been predictably bad at turnovers so far. He's averaging about 4 a game, but he's been very exciting everywhere else, which is what you want. I don't think he shoots 48% for the year, though. Regardless, whatever. You're having fun. That's what's important. Con Kneppel got the start for the injured Brandon Miller and was actually pretty damn good in this ball game, but lost in the weeds here is the fact that his game is pretty highly built on the 3-pointers. And if you take those away, you get 6 boards, 2 assists, and a steal, and that's all fine. I don't expect him to get 6 boards every game. He's probably a 0 burger board replacement for Miller right now. The guy I'd rather have is Colin Sexton, who had a worse game this time around with no threes and very few boards or assists, but a reliable high percentage guard who will get some assists most nights that it's not the LaMelo show. This game was a blowout, so you might even have seen these guys go a little bit longer. He'll get you some steals, not going to rebound, doesn't hit that many threes, but just a reliable scorer that you can pick up off the wire in a lot of spots. Or, if he was drafted, he was probably drafted in the 13th, 14th round. I think he's the guy that needs to be rostered while Brandon Miller is out. And then Ryan Kalkbrenner finally had his first clunko of a game. Still number 107 in 9-cat in 25 minutes a night on very good field goal percent and sort of fine other stuff. He looks like he might also be a 4th-string center, but if he gets better as the season goes, you can sort of tolerate the 4th-string center elements now to maybe get a 3rd-string center element in a couple of months. Maybe you get a 2nd stringer down the stretch, something of that nature. This is one of those games that I was worried about going into the year where Diabate played more than Kalkbrenner did off the bench. Mason Plumlee even got in there for 3 minutes. If this wasn't a blowout, I do wonder, would Kalkbrenner have gotten back in for another 3-4 minutes at the end of the ball game? I hope so. And so I'm going to sit on him as a 25, 26-minute guy and say that he should be on your rosters. Wizards. Chris Middleton was not very good here. He had a good first ball game, and he's come very hard back to earth, and I feel somewhat foolish. I feel as though I've been tricked by Chris. But I do think that in 26 minutes a game, he's probably rosterable. Alex Sarr is shooting 54% from the field, which is both a good thing and also a sign that you probably need to abandon ship. Not abandon ship. That's not the right word. Roll that back. Roll the tape back. It's a sell high because he ain't going to shoot 54% for the year. The other stuff is pretty repeatable, but not that. Trey Johnson looks like he's getting ready to just take that point guard job from Bub Carrington. He already looks better, especially when you can play alongside McCollum and Middleton, guys that can kind of help steer the boat a little bit. And admittedly, this team's still going to be terrible, but I think you could probably pick up Trey Johnson. I wouldn't start him against a games cap, but head-to-head, it's like a quality active stash right now because he's ranked in the top 60. I don't think that the free throw percent is going to hold. I don't think that the field goal percent is going to hold. There's a lot of stuff there where you're like, yeah, but if it's an active stash that's going to give you, outside top 100 with upside beyond that, that probably deserves a spot. And we finally got our first decent CJ McCollum game, but I want nothing to do with him in basically any format. And then Keyshawn George belongs on every roster, even though he wasn't that good in this one. He fouled out in 25 minutes. The Giannis show wasn't enough in Cleveland. Giannis had 40 and 14 with 9 assists, missed a lot of free throws, but you know what you were getting into. Ryan Rollins, pretty good fill-in game for Kevin Porter Jr. He's kind of a one hamburger fill-in level guy. Mostly you're looking for assists and steals when you can get them. Sometimes it won't be that great. Most of the time it will be passable, and that's good enough. Kyle Kuzma was out, and Bobby Portis still wasn't very good. That makes me extremely nervous. He's averaging only 20 minutes a game right now. Yeah, I know we took him in the 12th round or whatever, but I still wanted him to pan out. So I still feel mad about it. I'm going to give him 2 to 3 more ball games. If nothing happens that looks even remotely promising, then we'll move on from Bobby Portis. Gary Trent Jr. is, I think, a threes streamer. This is what he looks like when he gets in foul trouble and doesn't make his shots. It's bad, and it's real bad. I'm not picking up AJ Green. I'm not picking up Taurean Prince. Let's keep going. We're 20 minutes in, and I have not even hit 50% of the NBA. I got to pick up the pace, but I also need to remind you guys of all the things I've got going on, which, again, they're all in the show description, but I know not all of you look there. Please look in the show description. It's got things that I care about. Number one, the micro Patreon. We have about 200 or so micro Patreoners so far. I don't know what the right term is for that. And I would love to get up to 500. That's the goal. I'm giving myself 2 full seasons still, 3 if you count last year, of not charging a dime for anything ever. And if we get up to 500 Patreons, I don't think I'll ever have to charge for anything. I will probably add a monthly or, whenever I get around to it, subscriber pod for the micro Patreons at some point this season, like once things slow down a little bit. And it won't be fantasy related. It'll just be me talking to other analysts or possibly just friends about life and being silly. And I think a lot of you guys would really enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy doing it. And I hope that alone is worth the $1. It's $1. But if that's not worth it, hopefully just keeping everything that I do for free for the universe is. So please do check that out. Follow me on Twitter at Dan Vespris, and please subscribe to Old Man Squad. We are 40 subscribers away from 10,000. That's amazing. That's the kind of number where people ask what I do, and I'm no longer embarrassed to say it. They're like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm a fantasy basketball analyst. And they're like, oh, what's that mean? I'm like, well, honestly, just like a lot of tweeting and a lot of YouTubing. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, well, but I've got like 30,000 Twitter followers and a few thousand YouTubes. And they're like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then I'll say 5K YouTube or a 5-figure YouTube. And they'd be like, oh, that's like, you're a thing. I want to be a thing. Anyway, Cavaliers, Sam Merrill hit 4 more 3-pointers. If you need threes, he's a great source of them. Otherwise, I don't think I'd do much with this team. I think if DeAndre Hunter gets up to full speed before Darius Garland comes back, I think he'd probably be playable for those ball games. Otherwise, don't pre-add there because they're going to be really cautious with Hunter. And Garland is, by all accounts, I mean, he might be back in a week. Nothing else to talk of on the Cavaliers. Let's move on to the Pacers. The Indiana Infirmary in full effect. They lost Benedict Mathurin in the last ball game. They lost Andrew Nembhard in their first ball game. They lost Obi Toppin in this ball game, and they already didn't have, obviously, Tyrese Halliburton come into the season. They're basically down their entire club now, other than Pascal Siakam, which means things are getting weird. Aaron Nesmith is still alive also. First of all, you saw it in this ball game. With all these guys out, Nesmith got 17 shots. Siakam took 24. They still battled in this game, to their credit, but this is going to be a bad team, and that makes the late season tank much more likely. So if you have a bunch of Pacers, buyer beware. This is the opposite of the start that you wanted. You wanted some wins out of the gate. You wanted some chemistry, and instead, not only are they losing, but they're losing bodies, and it doesn't seem like it's, a game here, a game there. It seems like, Nembhard got an MRI on his shoulder, and Mathurin's getting an MRI on his toe. And I don't know what the hell the deal is here with Toppin, but it was a hammy, so that's probably not going to be the next ball game. Someone is going to have to step up, but nobody really did in this one. Thought it might be Jarris Walker. Ben Shepherd filling in at quote-unquote point guard seems like he has the easiest path to fantasy value, and he was terrible. So I don't know that you have to make any ads preemptively. Siakam, Nesmith, just keep trotting those guys out for now, and hopefully we'll see somebody else emerge with reliable fantasy game. But we also know Rick Carlisle is not going to stick with somebody who stinks on any given night for more than a couple of minutes. So we may be stuck just waiting and seeing. Timberwolves lost Anthony Edwards for at least 2 weeks. That news broke earlier this morning. That sucks. This was a guy that we targeted because he's been able to play through almost everything, but they're not going to push him on a hamstring. That's the kind of thing that could blow out for a season. While he's out, and we got a good look at it here, Mike Conley started the second half. The starters mostly just played more. Randall logged 39 minutes, DiVincenzo 38, McDaniels 35, Gobert 34. And then you kind of saw Anthony Edwards' minutes split among Naz Reid, Mike Conley, and Bones Highland, who re-entered the rotation. A lot of folks thought it would be Terrence Shannon. I'm not really that interested in all these fringy level guys. I think your winners here are the guys that are already on rosters. Randall's going to have to be the alpha. So you're going to get New York Knicks Julius Randle for a couple of weeks. Gobert is going to have to be more involved, which he missed a lot of free throws here, but otherwise this is a great ball game for him. And Naz Reid is the guy that goes from being outside the top 100 when the team is healthy to being well inside of it when they're not, because not that his minutes change a ton, but his usage changes a lot. They rely on him to score when Randall or Edwards is out. When Gobert's out, they rely on him to be a center, but when a shooter is out, then they need him to go put some balls in hoops. This is going to be good for DiVincenzo. He'll get, shots in the teens. McDaniels is going to have no shot, but to take field goal attempts in the teens as well. So all those main guys are going to get a whole bunch more, and I'm not picking up the fringe guys unless they prove it to me in their next ball game. But they didn't in this one, and Anthony Edwards missed most of this one also. Dallas finally gets one. Toronto on the wrong side of it. Scotty Barnes was good. Brandon Ingram was good. Jakob Poeltl was in foul trouble again. It is the darndest damn thing with Jakob Poeltl right now. This guy cannot stay out of foul trouble. If we thought the Jalen Duren thing was funny, Jakob Poeltl is hilarious. He's averaging 22 and a half minutes a ball game, and he's probably, if he can stay out of foul trouble, he's probably going to be about 9 minutes higher than that most of the time. So he is arguably, there might be others, the easiest buy low on planet Earth right now. He hasn't gotten any defensive stats either. Everything's gone wrong, and you can probably get him on the cheap. RJ Barrett's been actually kind of decent, but the field goal percent is not going to stick at 68. So there's your sell high. Ingram, I think, is who he is. This has been a pretty good look at Brandon Ingram. Scotty Barnes is off to a really nice start, and Emmanuel Quickley has good assist numbers. And overall, I think he's probably going to be okay. I was pretty afraid of Quickley. He'll get inside the top 100. Right now, he's outside of it because both of his percentages are bad. But if he can put up 7 assists a game, that's probably not going to stick either. What did he do in this last ball game? 5? Yeah, I mean, 5 to 6 is probably where he ends up. There's been enough so far, amazingly. Toronto playing very fast has been key. That's good for them. And that might save Quickley. For the Mavericks, I'm a little worried about Derek Lively. He's healthy. He was actually part of the units that were winning this game, so maybe he would have seen a little bit more at the end. Maybe not also. They've really not played their centers other than guy who doesn't want to be a center and Anthony Davis. But the good news is, in 21 minutes, Derek Lively still had an okay fantasy line. I really would like to see him get up to 24, 25, and I'm holding for now. PJ Washington is probably an ad. He has a lot of issues with his fantasy game. He's kind of a high turnover power forward. Both of his percentages tend to be kind of bad. He's number 117 because his free throw number is down and his turnovers are high. But I think it's all going to even out for him to be 12-teamer. And D'Angelo Russell finally had his first good ball game. He was just part of a unit that was winning this one. I'm not adding him. He's still number 240, averaging 18 minutes a game despite this big ball game. I'll pass. Cooper Flagg's starting to figure it out. Took 3 games, but he's starting to figure it out already. Who's next? Portland. Denny Avdia, I don't remember what happened there. He went to the locker room, but it seems like he was fine. I honestly forgot that it even happened. No surprises here. Donovan Clingan, only 24 minutes, just had issues with the Clippers. It wasn't that like a center took his minutes. They just ran small for stretches. He'll be fine. Drew Holiday's been amazing so far for the Blazers, better than even I could have predicted, and I was painfully high on Drew Holiday. I've been talking about him since the second he got traded. Toumani Camara finally had a down game, but he's still top 75 through 3. Jeremy Grant continues to shoot 59% from the field. Despite this lower one, he is going to crash land at some point, and it may have started to happen already. Denny Avdia, I mean, we're obviously looking for more, but he'll be fine right now. The field goal percent is a little low, and he hasn't gotten any defensive stats yet. I don't even know if you can call him a buy low, but if you can, I would. For the Clippers, This was finally a competitive game, and so we got a pretty good look at what they are going to be, which is Kawhi, Harden, Zubats, and Collins, who admittedly isn't doing as much as I expected, but he's closing for them. And I wouldn't be blown away if we saw him start to inch up a minute or two from 26, 27. Like, but again, we're complaining about a guy that is top 90 in 26 minutes a game right now, with a field goal percent that's unsustainably high and a free throw percent that's probably a little bit on the low side. But otherwise, like, he's just going to be hyper efficient with this team. He's going to be amazing in this role. I just would like to see like 1 to 2 more minutes if possible. Bradley Beal is going to be a massive headache this year. It's why I said don't draft him anywhere. If you got stuck with him, you just kind of have to sit it out. But Harden and Kawhi look good. They look good. That's it. Lakers behind Austin Reaves going buck freaking wild because Luka's out for a week. Got a much needed road win, and they're 2-1 without LeBron and 1-0 without Luka. Lakers have impressed me after a terrible first ball game. Gabe Vincent went down in this one. Marcus Smart got hurt midway through, but stuck it out. The question will be how he looks for the next one. At some point, they're going to run out of options. Like, you can't sew it together like this and try to win ball games. They've got Portland on a back-to-back. That's going to be a tough one. Minnesota without Anthony Edwards, so they've got a shot in that one. Memphis, Miami, Portland again. They got to get their guys back. But in the meantime, Rui Hachimura is very much a start. DeAndre Ayton looking much better after a couple of clunkers. He's been terrible at the free throw line, but that's going to come around. Like, I know he's ranked near the edge of the top 200, but it's because he's shooting 38% at the foul line. If you just assume that he gets back to close to league average there, which is kind of where he's been, even with a bad start, he's sitting right around the edge of the top 100. So one good ball game has gotten him all the way back. He also has been weirdly high on the turnovers. So I'm not worried even a little bit about Ayton. He's looking better every game. The other note here is if Marcus Smart has to miss any time, Jake LaRavia would probably make the burger board. He's got a decent fantasy game. He's always been a pretty good rebounder and steals guy. I don't know how he fits into everything else the Lakers are doing because he's being asked to do more than I think they had intended. Hopefully Marcus Smart can survive and play the next ball game. He's not a guy I'm picking up, by the way. I don't want Marcus Smart. But he and LaRavia would both be sort of like fringe level short-term ads. The Hachimura, I think, can have value basically until LeBron comes back. That one is a little bit simpler. For Sacramento, Domantas Sabonis, they got to get him more involved. He was in foul trouble in this game, but the assists and the scoring are just not where they need to be. And he's a buy low, but, you know, what did I say going into the year? I think he's probably going to be more like a third rounder per game, so he'll get himself around. Dennis Schroeder looked good in this one again. He had 12 assists. I mean, are they really just going to turn it over to him? I can't imagine that Levine is going to do this little orchestration going forward, but perhaps Schroeder can somehow survive the Sacramento Kings point guard logjam. I don't know how, but he's doing it so far. He's also a bit over his skis with almost 2 steals a game, and 7+ assists also feels unsustainable. I do think that it's going to all come apart for a lot of these guys. Malik Monk's been good enough to start the year thanks to a high block rate and fantastic percentages. That's not going to hold. DeMar's going to be fine. Levine's going to be fine. Sabonis is going to be fine. Even Russ had a better game here. Schroeder, among all of the others, he has probably the best path to maybe hanging on. I think he's going to end up in that 115 range. So, bit of a Dennis Schroeder sell high, perhaps. I don't know, man. Consider it, because I think we know that something's going to turn somewhere along the way. Finally, we got through Sunday. Good Lord, Dan. 35 minutes in, and we just got through Sunday. Let's turn the clock back to Saturday. We're 18 teams in. Oh, boy. My voice is not going to make it. Been yelling at children for way too long. Way too long. Oh, man. That makes me sound like a really bad dude. It's all positive stuff and, like, things to remember. But my voice is so dead. Whew. Okay. Let's get to Saturday as I remind you guys again to please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. You can do it. I believe in you. Chicago, Josh Giddey is questionable now. He's dealing with a finger injury. Hopefully he can play through it. If not, we'll get more Ayo Dosunmu. In the meantime, Trey Jones as the Kobe White fill-in is fantastic. I love a damn Trey Jones fill-in game. So reliably awesome in this particular role. That's just the best, man. It's just the best. He's top 25 in 9-cat so far. Big steals, big assists, big field goal percent. Love it. Kevin Huerter's been weirdly decent so far. He'd probably also be playable if Giddey sits. I don't know that I would do anything with him prior to that. Although it's possible that he hangs on until White comes back also. Let's play this one by ear. Let's see what Giddey's up to. Huerter's probably playable in head-to-head regardless. What's Chicago's schedule look like right now? I'm in there every other day this week. I'm thinking about more from is this guy someone I would play in a games cap format? And for Huerter right now, I think I would do it if Giddey's out. If he's in, I don't think I would. Orlando's got to get their crap figured out. Wendell Carter Jr. has been decent so far. Top 140. I guess decent is a loose term. I've liked the steals and the rebounds. He's at 10 boards and 1.7 steals. Everything else has been kind of bad. I assume the field goal percent is going to come around, and that'll probably push him up to that 100 to 120 range where he ended up the last time he was healthy. That's fine. That's like third, fourth center range again. Got a lot of those guys bouncing around. Otherwise, looking for Jalen Suggs to start getting his minutes up a little bit, and then, the Magic are a fairly predictable lot. Thunder, somewhat unpredictable. A.J. Mitchell had another really nice ball game despite Case and Wallace being back, but Aaron Wiggins did not, and that's why I'm afraid of that whole contingent. I like Wallace. He's the starter. He's going to play big minutes when he's not a massive offensive liability, and this one is also a blowout, so expect Kaysen to play 30 minutes a game. He's been a steals juggernaut to this point, and that's his profile to begin with. So roll with it, man. I don't think that Mitchell is going to continue to be this good. He's 9 for 9 at the free throw line, so a small sample size that's pushing him up the board quite a bit. I don't think he's going to average 19 points a game. Some of that was because a couple of guys were out in game 2. He's certainly not going to average 7 assists, which he got in this ball game. But the Thunder just have so many weapons, too, that it becomes kind of hard to really hone in on the one that works. Holmgren, Shea, Wallace, those are your guys in games cap. Mitchell and Wiggins, you could probably deploy in a great scheduling spot, which the Thunder actually do have a pretty good schedule to start this week again. Otherwise, that's where I'm at with that. Hawks are been a bit kneecapped here also. Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, those are the starters that are still around. Onyeka Okongwu slides into the starting 5, and he's been off to a great start thanks to a few factors. We were high on him anyway, but Porzingis missing 2 of the 3 games and Jalen Johnson missing 1 of 3 has really helped Onyeka into that top 40 range. So he'll come down as the Hawks get healthy. Hopefully that'll be sooner than later. Zachary Risa-Shea was also out for this ball game. So that pushed Nickeil Alexander-Walker into the starting 5. Mo Gay played for who the hell? Jalen Johnson. I don't know, man. If Nickeil Alexander-Walker gets another start, you could probably play him and pray that he doesn't shoot terribly and gets you a few steals. He's not really the world's greatest fantasy game in general. Low field goal percent guy, doesn't hit that many threes or rebound or assist all that much. I think you're rolling the dice there. I wouldn't do it. I think you should probably just play the usuals and call it a day. Dyson Daniels is a massive buy low right now. I'm really happy that I didn't draft him anywhere because now I think I can probably go get him on the cheap. So Dyson was drafted in the 4th round in a lot of formats. I don't think he gets back where he was last year because I don't think he's going to get 3 steals a game this season. But I think he's a top 50 guy. And you could probably get him for somebody you drafted like at 80 that's overperforming. And I don't know who the hell that is. Who the hell was going near 80? Can we figure it out quickly while live on air? Who's in that range? You guys are going to have to watch me think it through. Cam Thomas, after dropping a 40 burger, that probably won't get it done. Man, a lot of these guys in this range suck. This was also the range, you guys might recall, I said I hated everybody in this range of the draft. And they're all terrible. Norman Powell's been really, really good. I don't know that I would necessarily give him up, but actually that's a good one. Go Norman Powell and try to get Dyson Daniels. Because Norman might beat him for the next couple of weeks, but once Hero comes back, he won't. There you go. We talked Charlotte already. Philly, VJ Edgecombe was really good again. He didn't score 35 points, but he did other stuff. And I think he's going to be a good steals guy. I don't think that's a mirage here. I do think that the overall package, meaning he's averaging an absurd number of minutes, that's going to break him. It will. Paul George is going to come back. That's going to change the dynamic here. Embiid is going to slowly ramp up. That's going to change the dynamic here. But in the meantime, while Edgecombe has all the energy in the universe of a rookie coming into the NBA, they're running him hard. But they're going to break that horse because you can't play a rookie 40 minutes a night and not have them fall apart. So Nick Nurse, take it easy there, bud. For that reason, I do think that, and I know this is buzzkill time, I do think that as great as Edgecombe has been, he is probably a sell high. He's a second rounder. You could probably get a top 60 guy for him right now, and I would do it. Quentin Grimes has been surprisingly decent in a lot of respects. He's done nothing defensively, and his turnovers have been painfully high. But I don't know, man. I really can't make up my mind. You got Grimes, Oubre, Barlow, technically, I guess Justin Edwards is kind of in this mix, but not really. You've got these guys that are all, and Barlow got hurt in this game, but prior to that, they're all playing a decent number of minutes. And honest to goodness, I couldn't tell you on a night-to-night basis which of them is actually going to get to do more stuff. It's weird to say this. I almost hope Paul George comes back soon so we just don't have to worry about it all the time. Meantime, games cap format, I'm not playing any of those guys. Head-to-head, you could play any of them if they're healthy. Grimes, Oubre, Barlow when he's right. Also, sounds like Embiid is going to rest the front end of a back-to-back, so if you're into the Andre Drummond punt free throw experience, this would be a moment. Dembona probably is decent, but I'm guessing not great in this fill-in role. He needs a little bit more playing time. We talked Pacers. We have not yet talked Grizzlies. Cedric Coward. Who the hell did this guy? None of us were thinking about this guy before the season started, and he's a second rounder through 3 ball games on averages of 19, 4, and 2 with 70% from the field and 92% at the free throw line. If you want to look at a guy and say, there's a thing that I am certain is not going to continue, Cedric Coward is the absolute perfect name to put on that board. I would love to look at Cedric Coward and say, this is a guy that deserves to be on every roster, but I just can't do it, guys. He is shooting so far over his head, but admittedly, he was a good field goal percent guy in college. So, he's not going to be awful at that. Couple of seasons at Eastern Washington and then transferred up to D1 to Washington State, where he still shot 56%. And 40% from downtown. So, he's been a good shooter, but he's at 90% at the free throw line? 92% at the free throw line. He was, I guess he's not bad there. 83% in college. So that's a number that's probably going to come down. He's just the efficiency from college is not supposed to convert this quickly to the NBA, but so far it has. He was a better blocks guy than a steals guy in college. That hasn't really translated yet. He's not really handling the basketball, which has allowed him to amass exactly 0 turnovers through 3 games. And so, while the Grizzlies are trying to figure out who's who, he's been really, really good. I'm not starting him as a games cap. I think you could go ahead and pick him up in a head-to-head league and just see what happens. I still think that at some point, the other guy shooting the ball is going to probably have to be Jalen Wells, but I don't really like him all that much either, so I don't know why I'm so married to Jalen Wells. We can see the Grizzlies don't like Santi Aldama, so you can go ahead and move on there. They don't care about him at all. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but yes, Cedric Howard has been interesting. KCP's actually been kind of good. He's shooting 28% from the field. So if you can do the sort of assume he gets back into the 40s game, KCP's been a top 90 guy so far this year. I don't know if that's going to stick. He's not a guy you need to go out and pick up either. This game was also over super early, so everybody's minutes got artificially depressed. So let's do this. Pick up Cedric Howard in head-to-head. Roto, you probably don't need to. KCP, you can just leave him there, and everybody else will just watch the next one. Phoenix, Dylan Brooks is dealing with a groin soreness situation. He's playable if he plays. If he doesn't, I don't think I'm going to do anything beyond that. Grayson Allen is a fill-in for Jalen Green. Devin Booker, obviously, you're going. You're not playing any centers when Mark Williams sits. Royce O'Neal probably is decent enough if Dylan Brooks is missing a game, but his fantasy game's kind of boring anyway, so probably leave it alone. Nuggets, this is the easiest game to handicap on the board. All 5 starters had good fantasy games. Wipe my hands, the end, move on to the next one. Everybody's fine. Everybody was super worried about Christian Brown and Cam Johnson. And I know this wasn't a great line for Cam, but both those guys were much better here. And it's just going to, it's going to bounce around a little bit. Will there, won't there be enough? This game was a blowout. So you also had Aaron Gordon's minutes down and Cam Johnson's minutes down because of what unit they play in. Like the guys that play the beginning of the fourth quarter actually got to do it, but the guys that play at the end didn't get that extra time. So, you would have seen another 3-4 out of Jokic, another 2 or 3 out of Jamal. Brown probably would have gotten another 2 or 3. Gordon and Cam probably each would have gotten another 4 or 5. This was much better, and I feel much better about it. Let's quickly get to Friday. There were 4 teams that played on Friday that did not go over the weekend. Those teams were, let's see if we can remember it. I can't remember. Golden State, Houston, New Orleans, and Utah. So let's quickly find Golden State, Houston, New Orleans, and Utah. There's New Orleans. They're right in the middle. I'm trying not to show you guys everything that the good folks over at Basketball Monster type up. They have the really nice thing on Friday where they do a recap here, but it feels bad. It feels I don't want you guys to think I'm like stealing their recap. New Orleans, no Yves Missy for this one. So Sadiq Bey was technically, I think, the starting center, or Zion was the small ball center, but they went to a lot of Derek Queen, and that's the guy you'd want to play if Missy has to miss any more ball games. Zion just got added to the injury report with a left bone contusion. I didn't even see him on the injury report like an hour ago, so keep an eye on that. Obviously, if Zion sits, you're going to get even more Trey Murphy, who was amazing in this ball game. This was overtime too, by the way. Jordan Poole is going to do a lot if Zion sits. He's doing a fair amount anyway, but I don't really like the Jordan Poole experience this year. Herb Jones came back to earth after a really good first ball game. He'll be fine. There was something I wanted to talk about with this team, and now I forgot what it was. Jeremiah Fears. That was what I wanted to talk about. Not a roto ad. Might be a head-to-head ad until DeJounte Murray comes back, and that could be months. They're giving him a lot of runway. I think there's going to be a lot of growing pain stuff, but I don't know. I'd think about it. Where's Golden State on this board? They're probably down near the bottom, right? Golden State is here. Kuminga was good again. This was a terrible back-to-back. They had an overtime win at home the previous night. Mostly everybody in this game was cooked defensively. You had a couple guys that had enough energy on offense, Steph and Kuminga, but like nobody defended anyone. Podziemski can be dropped. He is now coming off the bench, so there's really no point in sticking that one out. Kuminga you hang on to, and then everything else with the Warriors is relatively straightforward. Where's Houston at on this board? Houston, they played Detroit. Where's that ball game? There's Houston. Kevin Durant, much better in game 2. Cool. Steven Adams, 25 minutes again. Double-doubled with 3 steals. I mean, he obviously has issues with his fantasy game because he's a bad foul shooter and he's not going to score very much. But I don't know. if he's averaging double-digit rebounds, he belongs on at least punt free throw teams, if not others. So I picked up Steven Adams in a few spots just to kind of see how it goes. Jabari Smith Jr. was solid again here, 11 and 6, 2 assists, a steal, block, and 3 3-pointers. He didn't shoot the ball well, but I sort of don't care. I think we know that's going to end up in the mid-40s. I think Jabari belongs on all rosters. And Tari Eason didn't do anything with his minutes, but he played 28. That's the real key. He got the minutes. He didn't in the first ball game. Hold on, Eason. Amen Thompson's off to a slow start. Hold on, Thompson. You could even try to buy low on those guys if you wanted to. I'm getting a lot of Reed Shepherd questions, which is weird because I told you guys I was super low on Reed coming into the season. So nothing for me has changed there. He's going to shoot the ball better, but also 24 minutes a game ain't enough. He had 20 in this one. He played 28 in the first one. That was double overtime, I think. This was a regulation game. It's just not enough. Simple as that. And then Utah was the last team I want to talk about. I think they got swamped on. Didn't they get clubbed by somebody here? No, this was a closer one. They hung in there with Sacramento for a while. That game is, there it is. No massive surprises with Utah. Filipowski's starting at power forward and good enough to roster. 25 minutes, I'd like that to be 27, 28. But he can probably get inside the top 125, if only because his fantasy game is pretty translatable. He's number 99 in 25 minutes right now. He's a good free throw shooter. He hits threes. He can block some shots. That's sort of the easiest fantasy game to make headway with. Keontae George has been amazing so far. I doubt that this holds. 9.5 assists a ball game. Certainly once Isaiah Collier comes back, that's going to make the assisting a little bit harder. And at that point, he probably goes back to being more of a punt field goal super darling. Markkanen's been excellent so far. Kessler's been decent enough. He had a big ball game and then a less big ball game. And I think you can probably drop Taylor Hendricks or leave him on the wire and just see how his minutes go this year. Ace Bailey, I mean, you know me. I don't draft any rookies, really, other than I would have taken Cooper Flagg, certainly, because he's going to be incredible. But, this is a reason that you don't take rookies. He's coming back from the flu. We don't really know what's going on. Eventually, they're going to jam him in there. Eventually, he's going to have to be in there a bunch, but we don't know when. It's going to be a growing pains year. That's how it works. 52 minutes. Good Lord. What happened to my day? Thanks for watching, everybody. This is your first reverse chronological lightning round. We got you all caught up for the week. I'm Dan Bespris. Please like, rate, and subscribe so that I can rest my voice for a little while. Please check out the $1 Patreon. Let's get to the point where I can do everything for free forever with your help. Free Google Sheet. Go, get it. It's in the show description. A lot of people are using it as we speak to check out the week ahead. You should too. It's there. It's free. What more do I need to say? Nothing. All right, I'll see you guys. Enjoy your Monday. Set your lineups.